gonna get to Dave Richard. When we come back after Dave Richard, we will end with the tiebreaker. Steve Becker's working on the question right now.
All right.
Dave, I think you caught the end of that. Would you have won true or false about Deion Jones?
I'm up here shaking. Look at my hand.
I would have on that last one.
You knew that? You knew he knew.
I think I knew that. I did not know the Nebraska. I didn't know he was a commit to Nebraska.
Yeah. I just figured it was he spells it differently, so I was like,
no, he spells it the same.
No. It's the same.
Okay, well, I screwed up.
Also, the nickname Debo is Deion Sanders Bo Jackson. That's what I call him, Debo.
What a great nickname.
Wow.
That's
all right. Well, speaking of Bo Jackson, was a running back, obviously, and Dave, let's talk some running back. All right,
Dave,
we got a couple of interesting situations. We'll look at the Seahawks, where Rashad Penny out for the year. Kenneth Walker now gets his opportunity to be, I assume, the main guy. And then what about Carolina? We got Darrell Williams banged up. We got James Conner. He's spending big on potentially Eno Benjamin this week. What do we make of those two running back situations?
I think you meant Arizona and not Carolina. We know what the Carolina run game is right now. It's all good. It's all good. Cardinals, Panthers, they look the same. Good job, Cole. Let's start with Seattle. Let's start with the Seahawks. Kenneth Walker is going to be their guy. And while he's not exactly the most efficient running back right now, when I watch him play, I still see him running with a little bit of hesitation. And Tyvis will tell you, like any running back that's running with a little bit of hesitation, man, that's something that you want to hit, and that's something that you can hit. Once he breaks through that point, he's going to be a very tough running back. And you saw it on his touchdown last week against New Orleans. He had great vision, he had a great cutback, and he had a great second gear to break away from the rest of that New Orleans defense. He's taken on Arizona this week. They're not good against the run. A lot of teams that Seattle's about to play, not good against the run. And I think that offensive line's playing a little bit better than we expected. So I think he's going to be, at worst, a middle-of-the-pack number 2 fantasy running back rest of season. But, guys, he's got the ceiling to be a number 1 running back. In Arizona, Conner has not gotten the job done at all. And I think, Eno Benjamin does have a chance to be their main running back this week. Even if Conner plays, he's going to split with Eno Benjamin. Benjamin gives them some speed at running back. He doesn't have the power, that thump that James Conner has. And I think that that's something that they'll need Conner for. But it wouldn't surprise me if Eno Benjamin started to matter more and more each week moving forward. So if you couldn't get Kenneth Walker, Eno Benjamin would be the next best guy to go and get off the waiver wire.
So should I trade Najee Harris for Kenneth Walker?
If you can. That's like walking into a bank and saying, can I trade this $5 bill for a stack of hundos? If they'll let you do it, then do it.
Dave, got to throw it out there.
Instead of asking about specific players,
throw it out there, and if they say yes, then go for it.
It's Waiver Wire Wednesday, so give us a couple of names that are available in most leagues that can make an impact for our teams.
Well, we already talked about Eno Benjamin, and my guess is that he's already been picked up in a bunch of leagues. I would then venture to the wide receivers that are available. I still think that Jacoby Myers is going to matter quite a bit in New England. I think he's their best wide receiver. He started the week available in more than half of CBS Sports leagues. You should see if he's out there. Alec Pierce stepped up. He was very good for the Colts in their Thursday night game. Certainly gets a lot of volume. And that's a passing offense that needed a number 2 receiver, somebody to help take pressure off of Michael Pittman. And Pierce was amazing. Pierce is part of the reason why Desmond Ridder got drafted. He was awesome at Cincinnati. And I thought his transition to the NFL, I'm actually surprised it's taken as long as it has. I thought he was pretty NFL ready. Isaiah McKenzie just got cleared out of the concussion protocol. He's expected to play in Week 6. Huge game against Kansas City. The weakness of that Chiefs defense is against the pass. McKenzie should be the slot receiver for Buffalo, and he's mattered a lot, whether as a pass catcher or a decoy on a lot of their passing touchdowns. He's out there, Jay. In half of CBS Sports leagues, he was my big sleeper of the summer. I think if you can get him, you should. And then other wide receivers that might be out there, Rondale Moore, Darius Slayton, Zay Jones could matter a little bit. Devin Duvernay could matter a little bit. It's pretty rich at wide receiver. It's not as good at running back. And if I could be given just one more second to talk about the tight ends, my guess is that Taysom Hill's already been grabbed up in a bunch of leagues. But as tight ends go, there aren't a lot of studs of the Kelsey and Andrew spectrum. Taysom Hill's going to be a touchdown or bust player, just like a lot of other tight ends. And I don't think the Saints are going to back off of using him after what he did last week against Seattle. So I'm on board with him as a top 10 tight end rest of season. But I also like Hayden Hurst. And I actually like Hurst better than Hill in full point PPR because he's a tight end that actually catches the ball. Right. Unlike Taysom Hill, I think he's got one catch on the year.
Speaking of tight end, what are you doing if you have Kyle Pitts right now?
If you try and trade him, you're going to get that $5 bill that Tyvis is going to use to try and get a couple of hundreds from the bank. His value's in the tank. You have to wait for him to actually break out and play good football for more than one half. And that's all he's given you this year, one half of good football. And really a lot of it is tied to Marcus Mariota. He's not doing a great job passing. The Falcons have actually done a nice job running last week, notwithstanding. I would imagine that he will get back involved. It looks like he's practicing today. I don't know if that's 100% certain, but if he's practicing on Wednesday, he should be full go by Friday. That means he should be back in fantasy lineups as a low-end starting tight end.
Dave, from an NFL perspective, the Panthers are trading guys potentially. From a fantasy perspective, or from an NFL perspective, I thought, man, if the Bills got Christian McCaffrey, oh my God, because that's their only weakness is their running game is not very good. But from a fantasy perspective, if that did happen, I know, is it possible he has less value even though that offense is great, or is that insane? Because I'm just thinking because Josh Allen throws the ball so much, although McCaffrey catches a ton of passes. Can you imagine him in that offense?
Yeah, I think he would catch more passes than he would have in Carolina with Baker. And he's been pretty good. Like, let's face it, through 5 weeks, he's healthy. He hasn't missed a game. I don't think he's missed much playing time either. And they've been throwing him the ball. They've done a good job of utilizing him in Carolina. And I think Buffalo would use him similarly. Probably wouldn't have a lot of 15-carry games for the Bills. And that's why I don't think the Bills are going to give up a ton to acquire any running back. I think they know what their offense is. They want to lean on Josh Allen. Now, if the Panthers were willing to say, okay, take Christian McCaffrey off our hands, give us an early day 3 pick, that would be a 4th-round pick. Yeah, Buffalo would probably do something like that. But I bet Carolina fancies McCaffrey an important part of their future, and so they're not just going to give him away for nothing. The player that they might actually be looking at is in New York with Saquon. If the Giants end up flopping and they don't have this one-loss record like they've had so far, then I think that Barkley, would be the one that could be on the move because he's in a contract year. But the Giants have nothing to gain other than a compensatory pick if they move on from Saquon Barkley. If they have no intention on signing him, they might as well trade him, and Buffalo would love to have a guy like that.
If you're streaming quarterbacks with buys happening for the first time this week, if you're looking at, let's say you're looking at a Matt Ryan or some of the guys in that 20 range, and you need a quarterback this week, or it's 2-quarterback league, who of those like 3rd-tier quarterbacks, who are you going with this week?
Well, let's make sure that Geno Smith is not on the waiver wire because I think Geno's got some staying power and can be a starter for fantasy managers for the rest of the season. He's played great, and that Seattle offense, we talked about it with Kenneth Walker, really the reason why they're able to be so great and efficient at running the football, and they were with Rashad Penny, is because Geno Smith has been doing a great job with his wide receivers. Amazing. Make sure that he's not on the waiver wire. Make sure that Carson Wentz isn't on the waiver wire. I would like Wentz. I would put him at the top of the list. But if he's taken, go take a look at Jimmy Garoppolo against Atlanta. Favorable matchup. Should be able to come up with a couple of touchdowns against the Falcons.
Dave, I'm down to my socks in every fantasy league. Give me a trade that I could go get. Give me a player that can just help save me because I'm about to shed tears. I'm about to do a stand-up comedy thing. That's
no, we don't want you to do
that. That's where I'm at.
So you need to look around on the other teams in your league and see which teams have the positions or the position really specifically. If there's one, let's say you're weak at wide receiver. You need to find a team that's loaded at wide receiver, and you need to try and acquire one of them. A receiver that I would look for is Michael Pittman because he hasn't played well the last couple of weeks. His numbers have stunk. But I think the best is yet to come for him, especially now that they've established Alec Pierce as another receiver in that offense. Both of those guys could be force-fed a lot of targets there, especially when Jonathan Taylor's back. And that can make them useful for fantasy. I think Christian Kirk is a good buy low. I think Brandon Cooks might be the best buy low wide receiver out there. He's giving you almost nothing. People are tired of having him on their fantasy teams.
I just
acquired him in a trade.
In the league we're in together, I got Cooks. I'll trade him Cooks.
Yeah.
What do you want for him?
But that's the thing. And that's why But I wouldn't give up like Najee for Cooks because I just think that's a little too much to give. Cooks' value is so low right now. You should be able to give up a good bench player in exchange for him, and I think he's going to have some better moments. The Falcons, the Texans have to come out of their bye and realize that they need to get Brandon Cooks even more involved in their offense. I think they'll do it. I think Cooks is going to have some huge games moving forward.
All right, Dave, it's time for our Ask the Internet segment with you. And as always, when we do that, it's brought to us by our good friends at PCC Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We got a couple questions from the internet here. This one seems relatively easy, but Joseph Roscos wants to know, am I sitting or starting Ramondre Stevenson against the Browns?
Oh, you're starting Ramondre. He's going to be the main rushing downs guy. Yeah, I don't think you said. I think the Browns were smart to get Deion Jones, and I think in time Deion Jones will help settle that run defense. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I would expect Ramondre to have a good game.
Eagle Man wants to know, what should I do with the Miami running back situation? Is there anyone worth playing from that?
Raheem Mostert, as long as he's healthy, is going to be the guy for them. They've settled on him. Chase Edmonds has faded out of the offense. I don't think he's going to come back in. Myles Gaskin was getting more playing time than Chase Edmonds last week. Mostert is a low-end number 2 fantasy running back.
And we got two more. Our boy Earl upstairs, AP Earl, wants to know if he should attempt to move on from Darren Waller in a keeper league, so there might be a little more value
I want to
there.
know that too.
Sure. The problem is who's going to take Darren Waller off your hands, and what are they going to give you for him? They wouldn't even give you somebody like Romeo Doubs, who's coming off one of his worst games of the year, because in a keeper league, Doubs has a lot of long-term value. This could be the end of the line for Darren Waller in fantasy.
Wow.
It would make my heart break. Wow. But if he keeps getting hurt and he's an older player, the only team in a keeper league that would trade for Darren Waller right now is a team that's 5-0, 4-1. They're streaming tight ends, and they're going to hope that Darren Waller comes back better than ever. I think that's kind of asking a lot of Waller.
Dave.
He's been awful.
Robert Tonyan or Hayden Hurst?
I like Hurst better because he gets more targets in his offense than Tonyan gets in his.
Okay. Hey, Dave, let me run one last thing by you before we let you go here, because I'm in my keeper league, and for only the third time in 25 years, I've decided I'm selling. I'm blowing it out. Usually I play to the end. I don't like, but this year I got Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews and Aaron Jones, and the rest of my team basically sucks. It is awful. I've got injuries. It's a mess. So this guy today offers me, and I can't keep. I've had Lamar for 5 years. Nobody's ever had a player for 5 years, but his contract now is too much to keep for next year. So I got to trade Lamar if I'm not going to have a chance to win. So this guy offered me Trevor Lawrence, who I could keep for at least 2, maybe 3 years, although I'm not sold that he's going to be a quarterback one. He offered me Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I could keep for at least 2, again, maybe 3 years, and a first and second round rookie pick in next year's draft.
Ooh. You have to ask me this?
Well, I'm also.
It's not obvious to you?
Sorry.
This is the most obvious trade. You've asked me my opinion on maybe 40 trades in all the time that we've known each other.
Yeah.
This is the most this obvious. Is a fist pump yes deal. And here's the best part.
I left out he also wanted Mark Andrews in the deal, I should say.
Oh, all right, that changes it. That changes it. How long can you keep Andrews for?
I'd have to pay him over $20 for a tight end that's even Andrews.
I love this league.
Yeah, it's questionable. Maybe I might be able to keep Andrews.
You get a first and second next year?
Rookie pick.
Oh, rookie pick.
Yeah, rookie pick. First
right. When next year's draft is going to be huge for fantasy,
right.
So
which would give me 2 first-round picks
next year.
Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah,
I would give up on this year and do it.
I agree with Jay. I think this is what you got to do.
I'm trying to get him to throw in Nico Collins also.
The worst part. Well, why would you throw in? Who cares about Nico Collins?
I like Nico.
You know what you need? Here's what you need. You need a tight end to replace Andrews. Maybe you already have one on your team. I don't know. But you need to also find a quarterback. And I would tell you that if you make that trade, I still think you've got a puncher's chance of coming back if you get the right quarterback. Maybe make a trade for Geno Smith. Maybe make that deal for Taysom Hill or Hayden Hurst at tight end. And, those guys aren't as good as Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, but you're adding St. Brown into the mix. You've got picks for next year. You've got Lawrence for next year. You could use him as your quarterback. I think you could still have an outside shot of crawling into the playoffs, and that would be the best of both worlds.
You talked me into it. I was a little hesitant. All right, thanks, Dave, as always.
Dave, Waiver Wire Wednesday. We'll see you next week, man.
You got it, guys. Good luck in your leagues.
You too.
Thank you. All right, creep that music in. It's time for the tiebreaker between Tyvis and I.
My God, I forgot.
Here we go.
We have 3 tiebreaker questions if you guys don't determine a winner in 3.
Oh, wow.
I forgot about
three.
I'm going to play even though I'm out.
Yes, you can play even though
just
you're
for
out.
fun.
We'll have Bull reveal his answers first, then we'll have Tyvis and Jay go.
Go ahead.
My stomach just got back in
Tiebreaker
knots.
number 1
My stomach.
for Deion Jones. Deion Jones ran a sub 4.440 at the NFL Combine heading into his draft. Is that true or false?
Oh, I thought the bonus questions were like a specific answer. Didn't we do that last time?
But that's okay.
Do you want a specific answer? We have a couple specific answers.
No,
No, true. All right,
no.
He ran, what was the number again?
Sub 4.440.
Yes. I mean,
Boom, 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 boom.
This is the best music we've
I
found.
feel like you know the answer.
Boom,
Do you know the
boom,
answer?
boom, boom.
JV knowing the answer. That's what be making me mad.
Tyvis,
What?
are you ready?
He hasn't even written it down yet.
I got mine.
Tyvis, we have a show to get.
I'm ready.
You wrote it down?
Yeah.
All right.
Bull, let's see yours first.
I've been turning it
Bull's
around
true
for 5
song.
minutes
You know what?
already.
There's that. People don't see. There's a box here that Bull gets cut off in that one direction. So I can't see Bull.
Oh,
Tyvis,
really?
let's see. False. Jay.
Boom.
If I win, I should be back in the tie.
No, nonsense.
Bull's back in. It is true.
No, he's not back in anything. He's not back in anything.
He's not back in, but it is.
Ah, boo.
Okay. Question number 2.
I thought he would have been a first round.
It's like beating a playoff team on the last day of the regular
I thought he
season.
was
and not
going to be a
thinking you're
first
back in the
round pick.
playoffs.
If that was
Back
the
in the
case.
mix. Go ahead.
Question number 2. Deion Jones has never had more than 1 sack in a game in his NFL career. Has never had more than 1 sack. Not 1.5, not 2, not 2.5. Never had more than 1. True or false? I see it now, Bull. Thank you. Tyvis, you ready?
Yeah.
Said false.
I hate the poker face.
Tyvis?
I hate the poker.
And Jay, let's see the reveal. True.
Ooh, we're going to have a winner then. Boom.
And the winner is, Anthony, give me a drum roll. It is true. Tyvis
Yes!
has come back
On the
and
same
won.
double
The
overtime.
only 4-time champion. 4.
Double
1,
overtime.
2, 3.
This is a bubble championship, just like the Lakers.
Yes! Yes!
Without G.
You
Bush.
know what? I dedicate this one on to my boy G. Bush, man, for coming out with this title. You know, I want
It's
to thank,
like,
I want to
without
thank
G.
God.
Bush,
I want to thank God for this as well. Hold on, let me get my speech.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to thank God. You know, I want to thank my mom and father for doing what they did. To
While you're
even
doing all that,
just have me here.
Take into account that we're making a big deal about a guy that's never had more than 1 sack in an NFL game.
You're not gonna rain on my parade. I don't have nothing to do
That was
with
the
that.
ultimate shot, Jay. I love it. I love
Did you say this is a bubble win? Like
Yeah, I
the
did say it's a
Lakers
bubble win 'cause
championship?
G. Bush
Or a
isn't here.
COVID win?
Look at
Yeah.
that. Boom.
It's not a real championship. It's an asterisk championship.